In the booth here after Michigan takes care of business in the in-state rivalry with Michigan State. They put up 44 and hold Michigan State to 10 points today. I'm Joel Klatt, and you are in the booth presented by Dr. Pepper. It is the official drink of Fansville. This Michigan team looks better right now than they have at any point all season long. And you know what? Kudos to these kids and this coaching staff for constantly developing and continuing to get better during the course of the season. We saw them early. Gus and I were here when they played Army. They did not look good, in particular on the offensive side. Shea Patterson did not look like himself in that game. We had him against Wisconsin. They looked terrible in that game. They could not find an offensive rhythm, and the defense gave up far too many yards, in particular in the run game to Jonathan Taylor. But ever since then, they just seem to have been getting better and better and better. That second half of the Penn State game, they clearly found something, because this team from that point on has been totally different. In the last 14 quarters of football, this has been a dominant football team. Now, are they going to win the division? No. Are they going to go to the playoff? No. Obviously, all of that has gone out the window with their 2 losses, but they still have the ability to do something they haven't done here in a long time, which is beat Ohio State. And we'll see if they can do that in 2 weeks. And for those that wanted to get onto the bandwagon of, hey, Harbaugh is overrated, Jim Harbaugh can't coach, here are the facts. Michigan is better with Jim Harbaugh. College football is better when Michigan is relevant, which they certainly are at this point. College football is better when Jim Harbaugh is a head coach in college football. He is a really good head football coach. Those are the facts. You look at what Michigan was before his stint here, whether it was Rich Rodriguez or Brady Hoke, they were a non-factor. Largely a non-factor. Each and every year, there were 4, 5, 6 losses year in and year out. Rich Rodriguez was an unmitigated disaster here at the University of Michigan. Brady Hoke wasn't much better. He got worse every single year as far as number of wins, and yet here we are with Jim Harbaugh. And yes, I understand you want championships, and I think eventually you'll get there, but it does take time, and it takes some patience with where the program was, where Ohio State was, and trying to close that gap. Not saying they've closed that gap. Ohio State's one of the best teams in America, if not the best team in America. Doesn't suggest that I'm even saying that Michigan's going to beat Ohio State. But I will tell you this, they've got a far better chance this year than maybe they have in previous seasons, because this is an offense that doesn't have to play bully ball. They don't have to just sit there and run the football in order to be effective. They have the ability now, which they didn't have prior, to just throw the football down the field. And Patterson's day today against Michigan State was evidence of that. They could not run the football very well, in particular inside of the tackle box. Michigan State's far too strong for that defensively. So what did they do? They got outside a little bit with some misdirection and then put the game on the shoulder of their quarterback, their senior Shea Patterson, and he delivered. He was absolutely tremendous today. 24-33 for 384 and 4 touchdowns. This is the offense that they tried to switch to. This is the offense that they've switched to in order to compete in games like this and score points when they can't run the ball. This is what they're going to have to do against Ohio State, whose defense is out of control good. This is going to be a real test for them in a couple of weeks. We'll see if they can take care of Indiana. But rest assured, I want to go back to this point. Michigan is so much better with Jim Harbaugh. I'm glad they continue to get better. I'm glad that he blocks out the noise, his staff blocks out the noise, and these players have blocked out the noise. You know, all the chirping from the people that love to tear this program down, that love to tear Jim Harbaugh down, because they are getting better. They're doing exactly what they should do. In fact, when we were here a few weeks ago, right before the Iowa game, we asked him, you know, what do you think about the noise on the outside? And he says, I don't care. I just want to go coach these guys. And that's exactly what he's done. So, Michigan, you got a better chance now than you have maybe in the last couple of years, and we'll see what you do against Ohio State in a couple of weeks. Some other things around college football. Tua goes down with an injury. Let's hope it's not serious. Kind of differing reports about how serious this hip injury is. I think it's interesting that he's even in the game. I know Nick Saban said that it would have been his last series. Was there any need for that last series? The game certainly seemed like it was in hand, and he's a guy that is hobbled a little bit anyways. Why is Tua in the game at that point? If he was coming out after that, maybe I understand it, but too many times we see this style of play happen when a guy really shouldn't be in the football game. Let's hope Tua is okay, and that doesn't affect Alabama down the stretch, but they certainly have a big one in a couple of weeks against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, and we'll see how healthy their quarterback is for that matchup. And then a big kudos and an applause for Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor today passed Herschel Walker for the most rushing yards by the time they're a junior in college football history. That's an incredible and staggering name to pass. And so Jonathan Taylor, who I've put back into kind of that Heisman consideration, not that he's going to win the award because Joe Burrow has clearly kind of run away with that at the top end of this thing, but it would be great to see Jonathan Taylor in New York as a Heisman finalist, because if nothing else, his career deserves kind of an applause like that here at the end if, in fact, he were to go to the National Football League. So Jonathan Taylor in Wisconsin, well done. You're a great back. You've been a great person to cover, high character, high integrity, and we all applaud you for what you've been able to accomplish. There's no doubt about it. That's going to do it for me here from the Big House. Michigan looks great, 44-10 over their in-state rival, Michigan State. Michigan State back to the drawing board. That was ugly. That was not what you wanted to see, and clearly there's going to be some frustration there in East Lansing. 44-10. Michigan puts it on them. And for now, at least, Michigan State is, again, little brother, even though I kind of hate that term. I'm Joel Klatt. This has been In the Booth, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the official drink of Fansville.